to another episode of Woman Witness Podcast, The Stories at the Well. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. And here on this platform, we bring to you voices of women who are out there making a positive impact and making a difference in their lives, in their community, in the world around them. Today, I have a very special guest that's going to introduce to us a little bit of soul and a little bit of music. So without further ado, I'm going to read a little bit about her, and then I'll introduce my special guest to you. Today, I am introducing to you Miss Lynn Laza, who is the founder and owner of Anaymous Touch LLC, a brand designed to inspire, ignite, and initiate the heart and the soul of the people. Anaymous Touch is a multifaceted entity that aims to encourage each individual to embrace their inherited rights. Lynn created a multi-passionate platform operated by a therapist and a humanitarian artist. Lynn's goal is to heal at least one wounded soul by using her determination to engage the audience and remind them that they are an incredible creation by God. Additionally, Lynn serves as a wellness coach, focusing on workplace wellness tailored to specific industries. She offers workshops, one-on-one counseling, and is currently testing two wellness programs, one in education and one in sports. So without further ado, I am pleased to introduce to you my special guest, Lynn Laza. Lynn, welcome to the well.
Hi, Leah. How are you? It's an honor to be here with you today, Queen.
Well, it is an honor to have you, Lynn. Lynn, I'm so proud of you and all the amazing things that you are out here doing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and get started. And hopefully you'll leave us with a little bit of your music before you leave. I won't put you on the spot, but just plant that little seed there. Start by introducing yourself, Lynn. Who are you?
My name is Lynn Laza, aka Anaymous Touch, the high priestess with the elevated thesis. And you already know, pretty girls, we're never in a rush. Look at us. We're gorgeous. And it's absolutely a great day for gratitude. Just like Leah stated, I am a therapeutic therapist. I focus on holistic healing, using the modalities of recreational and aquatic therapy, and also some massage and speech therapy too. That's my everyday, day-to-day life. But my passion and soul is to heal one wounded soul at a time through music.
I love that. So when did you get into music?
It's always been something that I've been in love with my whole life. I would say I started at a very young age, like 4 or 5, and I used to write a lot of poetry. And then in my teenage years, when I used to be walking to school with my friends, we would do like freestyle rapping.
Uh-huh.
And then when I turned 17, that's when I created my first quote unquote track.
Let's go. Let's go. I think that's pretty cool. Now, did you grow up in a musical family?
Absolutely not.
Oh, wow.
I'm technically considered the first generation Haitian here. My mother immigrated from the country of Haiti. She was just a hardworking woman, you know, that really just focused on making sure we had bread and butter every day.
Yes. Yep. Yep. I love that. And so she didn't do any singing.
No, not at all, actually. I was me that always would like turn the radio on and like dance for her and things of that nature. It was just like, I guess it's encoded in my divine DNA.
Yes, and especially the fact that you're a writer too. I think just by being a writer, that will, you know, ignite that ability deep down inside of you. I bet you when you're writing, you write to a beat. So of course, right? As I was researching, I want you to introduce to us, tell us a little, of course, you just introduced yourself and told us a little bit about yourself, but I also want you to tell us your journey. Here at the Well, that's what it's all about. It's all about bringing your story and introducing to women, you know what? Yes, here I am right now, but at the same time, I have been through something. God has brought me through something, placed me here on this solid ground so I can be a witness to those who may be in the thick of it themselves. So I want you to tell us a little bit about your story from being homeless to then becoming an entrepreneur.
You know, sometimes the cards shuffle a little differently.
Yeah.
And my mother went through some things, and that caused me to be homeless in my younger years.
Mm.
And I was also very rebellious too, to be quite
Mm.
honest with you,
Mhm.
just because there was no true structure and foundation that I would have liked in my home. I would say it enticed me to be more on what we call the streets. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Connecting with people there, creating a certain lifestyle for myself because I wanted my own money, I wanted my own things. It just led me into that path. Actually, so when I was 17, I was in a connection that was very abusive,
Mm. Mm.
that led me to being fully homeless because obviously I was living off of that connection. I ended up moving to this shelter in New York City called the Covenant House of New York.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I was telling myself one day on the train, and this is crazy because I actually used to sleep on the train, but none of my friends knew that about me, because of
Nobody
how
knew.
I carried myself.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
nobody
So
knew.
no, it was actually when I was moving like out of the shelter is
Yeah.
when everyone found out that I even lived in one. And people were just like, "Why did you never tell us this?" and things of that nature.
Why didn't you?
I don't know. I always really lacked humility. I never
Mm.
wanted people to know that I was struggling. And I had a
Absolutely.
very I can do it by myself attitude just
Yeah.
because, like I said, my mother worked a lot. And I raised my little sister. So it just really made me step into an adult role at a very young age.
Mhm.
So it just made my mindset. I just operated in I can do this by myself, no matter how hard it gets. I'm gonna figure it out, and
Yeah.
I was navigating through that spirit.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, you said a couple different things that I want to just talk about because I think a lot of us women, we can relate to this either at some point or another in our lives where, one, when we in our mind, when we have it all together, right? We want everything to present perfectly. And no one, I could at least talk about me. No, we don't like putting our business out there. Whatever you think about me, great. I'm glad that you think that. Good or bad or indifferent, right? So I'm glad that you actually said that because, I think so many times, so many of us are suffering in silence and we're maybe in places of like turmoil or places of being oppressed or being silenced in a way that it stifles us, and we're too afraid to reach out and say help. So I'm glad that we talked. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I want you to know, one, you're not alone. And I'm glad that you actually put that out there to let people know too. If you are in that situation where you need help, only way to know if you really have a true friend is to ask them, right? Ask them. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So what point did you get to a point where you got back on your feet and started moving in the way that you feel that God was leading you?
I had always been on a spiritual journey, because
Mm.
I just think when God chooses you to elevate others, it requires a certain level of hardship. And at that age, 17 and 18, is when I really started my concrete spiritual journey. And I was doing a lot of solitary studying because you have a kind of like resentment when you're going through those aspects of your life. You're kind of like,
Yeah.
God, like, what is really going on here? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, is this
Yeah.
the abundant birthright you was talking about? You know?
I got to walk through the wilderness. How long? Yeah.
Right, right. So, living in the shelter, I was able to get my first college degree because it gave me a stability. It teach me how to like pay like rent, which I wasn't really paying rent. It was like a savings program, but it was called rent. From there, I relocated to Pennsylvania, where my mother was. I got a scholarship to Temple University.
Oh my gosh, you go, girl.
Thank
Okay.
you. No, because I told myself, I was like, Lynn, you cannot turn 20 years old and not even have a GED. Like, what is going on with you?
Yeah. That's
So,
that's huge at night at 17.
yeah,
That's huge.
I'm a very introspective person. And I think that's very required to do healing. You have to get to the deep root of what's really going on inside of you.
Amen. Yeah.
So at 25 though is when I finished my whole like college career. I got pregnant with my little one. And yeah, that started a whole nother journey of
I
life.
know. Whole nother chapter.
Yes.
Oh, well, congratulations. So you got going on your little one, and then that's when you took that next step to starting your career.
Yes, because like I said, I have the little one, and I was like, the pandemic happened, and I was kind of like, I graduated in 2018, and I had her in 2018. I didn't work for a while, and then you have little odds and ends, loose jobs and things like that.
Right,
And I was like, I gotta get this license. Like I just gave these people 4 years of my life, and I was a little fearful because I had been out of school for a little bit,
right.
and I was like, do I even remember the stuff that I learned? I got the certification to become a licensed therapeutic recreational specialist. I was like, okay, now I gotta like really get to this money.
Get going. Get going. Yep. 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 I hear you.
But through the pandemic is where I really created Anonymous Touch LLC. Anonymous Touch was always with me. She's the side of me that started in my teenage years. And I went through different trials and tribulations, learning different things about the music industry, connecting with street DJs and things of that nature. But in the pandemic is when I was like, this is not a hobby. This is a
Mm,
lifestyle and a career, and I need to understand the business. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that's when I started to solidify. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, no, I said absolutely. I totally
Yeah.
understand. You said so that's when you started to solidify.
Anonymous Touch LLC. And I was like, what is this really about? Because I feel like the world is okay. So people always be like, well, what's your niche? And I'd be like, well, I like to be me. That's my niche. You know what I mean? And they're like, no, if you want to be successful, you have to like tailor it down to just one thing. Because if you do too much, people are going to be confused about what you're doing. And, people around me would be like, oh, you're a jack of all trades, a master of none. And I'd be like, well, who told you that?
Well. Uh-huh. So what did you boil down to? Do you boil down to just being yourself or being the master of all trades?
I definitely boiled down to being a master of self of all trades
Yeah.
because I just feel that when you're connected to self, it just illuminates everything else that's supposed to be in alignment with you.
Absolutely. It doesn't pinpoint you just to one lane. And I always find it so interesting. And I love people who are in tune with their ability to do any type of art, whether you're, writing, whether you're singing, whether you're dancing, and being intuitive with that, I think is so important because you're using your craft to go out and touch the lives of those who need to hear what you have to say the most. So I'm going to ask you, what do you rap about?
So,
You got to say it.
no, I just say it's been a journey with my music. I definitely feel like I had this sensual, divine feminine aspect of me that I wanted to illuminate at one point. And I was
Uh-huh.
very focused. And I'm gonna use that word because I wanted to still be able to talk about feminine things, but not in such an increased vulgar way, especially because I have the
Absolutely.
little one. But I still wanted people to know, like, hey, this is
Yes.
on deck, you know.
Good.
But I've utilized my trilingual aspect of my life. I really wanted
Mm,
to start incorporating like English, Spanish, Creole into my music, and
okay.
that's what I really and just give a highlight of what I can really do as a lyricist. And I'm still growing. You know what I mean? I'm still growing
Yeah.
as a writer. I think
Yeah.
everyone needs to constantly be in a state of growing. It just brought me to a new aspect of my life that I will be presenting in the next like 1 to 2 years. And that's okay. Like I think it's okay to realize I was doing this, but I want to shift to this because that's what I'm being called to, you know?
Yeah. Yes. And Lynn, that's okay. That is completely okay. I believe that we should forever be evolving. I think when we get complacent or we get in one lane, or when people or society try to put us in just one lane or one box, we can say, don't close that lid because I may not be in here for a minute. I might need to move around. And I think that is completely okay. So yeah, keep doing that. Don't let people pinpoint you into just one genre, one niche, one target audience, because you never know where God's going to lead you. You may be here today because that's what you're going through today, but tomorrow you may be into something completely different, and that's okay. I like it. That's where we get to our authentic music, and that music that people are going to be picking up on and saying, yes, I need that. I need her. I hear you say at such a young age, and I think that is so special, to, hear your calling, know the voice, and know the voice of God, and start to seek it for your own. So I want you to elaborate a little bit for us and some of our listeners on how your faith helped you heal and inspired you to focus on helping women and their mental health.
Because of the trauma that I endured throughout this journey, like I said, you kind of do grow a certain, let's say, like not resentment, but you are in this period of like rebelliousness with God because you're like confused. Like, okay, like how, let's give a prime example. Joseph, I'm in the pit right now, right? And I don't know why I'm here because I didn't do anything to my brothers, right? Or my sisters. And but they have a resentment towards me because of God's anointing that has been placed on my life, right? And I go through the different trials and tribulations of my mind and conversations with God. And I really think this is important because a lot of times we pray a lot, but we don't allow God to talk back to us.
Come on.
And that is when God talks back to you, that is when you're able to get what we call the revelation of what needs to happen next.
Yes.
And it comes through many different avenues, not just by reading the sacred Bible, because it's a sacred book where God is continuously in conversation with us of what he requires and how he requires for us to operate to reach that abundant birthright that he said is part of the covenant, right?
Yes.
But just like a conversation with me and you.
Yeah.
I could be talking to you at a coffee shop. You're standing in line. And I say, hey, Leah, I really love your yellow shirt today. And you'll be like, girl, I wasn't even going to buy this shirt, but something just told me to pick it up. And it sounds very simple.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But when you go your way, I go my way. And there was a plan in my mind that I wasn't going to do. But because you came through and confirmed that you did not self-doubt how amazing you would look in this top that you're wearing, it aligned with me to say, hey, you know what, Lynn? Let me keep pushing. Let me go forward with that plan that I had. It comes through so many avenues when God is speaking through you and to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, come on, Lynn. Yes, you said so many powerful things right there. And I just want to recap for some of our listeners, and what really resonated to me is that, yes, we do a lot of praying. I know, boy, I still, wait, think about it. Anytime we get in trouble, Lord, please, please do something, right? And then we're over here looking for a sign, right? And sometimes we don't give it enough silence to hear God's revelation, to hear his answer, or we're not that sensitive in our spirit, and maybe we're even closed off because maybe we're depressed, or maybe we're experiencing anxiety, and maybe we're just in our solo stage and we don't want to talk to nobody. But what if, like you said, that girl at the coffee shop might be your breakthrough that you need, maybe that boost that you need, but you don't want to talk to nobody, or you want to stay in the bed. Okay. Whew, that might be for somebody.
I said all of that just to say that I knew if I showed up as myself in the most authentic way, whether it was a little ratchet but holy, there would be a woman that says, you know what? God is still working through that sister despite whatever it is. And whatever she's sharing with us today, it actually was what I needed. You know what I mean? And I think people need to understand the rhythmic flow of life.
Yeah.
I'm holy, but we can be a little hot sometimes.
You have to be yourself, Lynn. Lynn, okay, can I tell you something? I love what you just said. Okay. here's what I used to always think, and this was the biggest thing that kept me from even, going. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to really be around people because I didn't grow up in church. I spent like a first maybe 4 years of my life in church, right? So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know all the religious things to do. I didn't know, oh, we got to stand up. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that. So I always associated with so many different rules. So when I walked in, I kind of felt as if I just did not fit in, right? And I even at sometimes I would hold back on even, conversating about my faith because I'm like, well, they're gonna be like, well, who affirmed you? Who did this? Who taught you? Who did that? Because I did not know how to show up in those areas. But then I realized and I understood that God can work through anybody. He can choose anybody. And so that doesn't mean he wants you to clean yourself up, fix your speech, learn all the religious ways. He wants you to show up as your authentic self. And then you'll be able to relate to the people that God assigned to you. So I like that you say that. Yes, we can all be who we are, okay? And still be holy and saved. Amen. Um, Girl, I get that. Come on, Lynn. You speaking my language today.
And you were so eloquent with the way you just gave that back to us. Like, here's a buffet, and you was like, you got a whole lot on your plate, and you better eat it and enjoy. Like that was. It tastes so good how you just said that. And
Uh, girl, look, I'm trying to tell you, because I can relate.
yes.
That's the only reason why I can relate exactly to what you just said. Okay, moving on. I get excited. I gotta sometimes pull myself back. Could you tell us more about your work as an entrepreneur and how you help heal women with their mental health?
Like I said, so I'm using therapeutic modalities. So that's really focusing on the core of self values, looking at the 7 aspects of life, which is financial, social, physical, emotional, mental wellness. I named just 5 because those are very core foundations needed. And what we do is we sit down and we plan. We create, but we plan in a way that is authentic to her. We don't just plan because I'm like, here's the blueprint, here's how it needs to be done. No, we're planning based off of what you're currently going through, what your goals are, and how we're going to take it to the next level. And I really stress on the spiritual and mental health aspect because I myself realize that that is one of the core foundations to reaching your highest potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you use pretty much what healed you.
Yes.
Mm. I can take that and run so far and so fast with it. But I do want to say this. That is why that is why when God brought me to this, the name of this, my book, which I wrote called Woman Witness. He told me to be a witness. So even with this platform, by me not changing anything, but just simply sharing with the listeners, having conversation with you on how I found my breakthrough.
Yes.
Right. And that's really all it is. So I love the fact that you took it and you built a business around it to help other women, because I do believe that it to get to your true core, your authentic self, it does take, one, doing that work on that mental health, and of course, two, your spirituality. What's centering you?
Yes.
Do you know who you are? Have God revealed himself to you and through you so you can see who you are?
Yes.
Oh,
I have goosebumps through this whole interview.
Lynn, you are, because I love what you're doing. You're being a witness. Okay. I get excited. Okay, sorry. Okay,
No,
so
me too. Thank you.
I love it. Okay, so how has the response been so far and the impact that you have made in women's lives that you've worked with?
So, in my perspective, and I'm hoping also always in God's perspective, that I am facilitating and cultivating a culture that allows women to show up as their most authentic self. And a lot of times we look, when you are placed in the position to lead and guide, you actually are going to have like what I would say replica energies, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we kind of like, oh, are you trying to be like me? Like, and let's be honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah, look, yes. Yes.
But that's not really what it's about. And I had to learn that. Like, when you're healing people, what you portray to them, they see that as an avenue of someone they could possibly become too, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that's why influence is so important, because I've seen a lot of women that I've cultivated connections with just
Yeah.
really show up now in their most authentic self. Like, a lot of times I've like cut my hair, I've had like different, I wrap my hair, I do
Yeah.
so many different things. And I'll see people doing something and then I'll check in with them and see, hey, how's it going? I really love what you've been doing. And they'll be like, wow, like, I'm so happy you said that because I was going to give up today.
Whew.
My eyes, I think it's been very successful. Especially like I go through periods where I'm like, all right, I just need to like disappear,
Mm.
because in this season, God has called me to move in stillness, but with precise action. So that requires for me
Mm.
now to take a step back. And as we're on this platform, I'm moving with precise action, but yeah, I'm in a space of stillness, if that makes sense. Because there's a new level that I need to take this to.
Yeah.
So it's going to require for me to sit back for a little bit to bring it back into a new elevated realm, and that's okay. But in
Yeah.
my eyes, I have been very successful with healing one wounded soul, however long it takes. And I have individuals with disabilities that I interact with on a daily basis, and to just watch them cultivate changes, feeling more inspired about themselves, walking in their power, in their self autonomy, moving their bodies, knowing that they have interests and desires,
Yeah.
I think that's success in my eyes.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely, Lynn. Lynn, you said something that touched me, and this is what it's all about. I can tell in your, like you said, your goal is to heal one wounded soul at a time. And you, when you said that you checked in with the one woman and she said she was going to give up today, that's deep. Sorry, that touches me because we are placed here for a reason. We are placed here to be an examples of Christ and be encouragement for other people. I couldn't tell you how many times that other people have been encouragement for me. And if I didn't have them to model where I needed, where I should, or where I could be, I don't know where I would be. So I love that you said that. I love what that you do and what you do what you are doing. And I think so many more of us need to do it. And I also, can I just say one more thing? I found it funny when you said that, sometimes people, will look and see something that you're doing and want to do it. Right. So I went through this period in my life. I didn't know what was going on. Like, I would do a new style or I'll do this. And I had this friend that would always do it. And I'm just like, why does she keep copying me? And I would get so angry. Like, I was almost like a teenager, if you will, until God showed me that this is what I want you to do. I want you to be a witness. I want people to find their way through you, and they may just be passing through, but they need to see it.
Yes. I had to learn that too. I
Yeah.
really did. I had to, because I went through that period of my life. Like, why is she literally wrapping her head just like me? And she was not even posing in pictures like this until you see me do
Right. I
it.
think
It's
we
so,
all been there. Go ahead.
yes, we have. We have. And we're afraid to admit that because we don't
Yes.
want to show the world that we can be a little. petty, if you want to call it
Yes.
that. You know what I mean?
Yes. 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 You know what? I want any listeners who are listening, and you know that this is you. Okay. You don't have to type me too on the line or anything, but I don't, and nor do you have to be kind of, with your nose in the air saying, oh, people copying me. No, God is giving you influence. Isn't that what you said, Lynn? God is giving you influence to influence someone else's life. So look at it as you giving thanks to God that He is allowing you to serve in that way. Oh, Lynn, come on. What other nuggets do you have to drop for me? Okay, I will have one more question and then I think I am done. Okay, talk to us about your one-on-one coaching and your counseling and wellness programs. How can we find benefit for ourselves? What are some of the things that you're looking for when people are submitting applications to come work with you? Tell us where to find you. Give us some information on that business.
In short, Symmetry
Mhm.
really crafts and tailors to highlight the highest qualities of life
Okay.
for all individuals of life of walk, whether you have a disability or not, meaning a diagnosed disability
Okay.
or not. It's a word of mouth company versus one of those where I have like placed on social media. A lot of my clientele is through word of mouth. I do have an email address, like when people ask, because that's how I go through the process. I like to get on the phone with you. I don't want to be reading. I want to be hearing and talking and really feeling the energy of each person that I will be to take on. So, and I really do focus on a one on one wellness, whereas I do group sessions at time, but I prefer one to one because, like I said, I really focus on tailoring and individualizing treatment plans based off of who you are, not what everybody else has going on. So, if you're looking and you are interested in connecting with me in that aspect, you would reach out to me at Insured Symmetry.
You'll give me the contact information, Lynn, for anyone who is feeling Lynn and you're connecting with the things that she is saying and you think that she'd be a good coach for you. Definitely contact her at the information that she'll provide and we'll leave it in the description below. I love your accent. I always think, I'm like, Lord, why not get me an accent? I need
You
me.
do have one. You have like a southern
Oh,
sweet. Yeah, I love my
I
sweet
got
potato pie.
my little Texas twang a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll take that.
I love it.
Okay, Lynn, I want to thank you so much for joining us here at the well and coming in and you poured, you poured, you poured. You left us with some great nuggets, some amazing things to think about. And I know I put you on the spot and you don't have to do a rap for us, but if you want to send us a little rap, honey, you can. I don't mind. I mean, you want to put a little being a witness thing on there, that'd be great too. Just saying. Uh, I don't have a theme song yet.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a little 16 and I'm gonna make sure it's focused on women's and witness and I make sure I incorporate that all in there with some flavor and we'll go from there.
Okay, I was just throwing that out there, but yes, okay, I receive it. Okay, that's amazing, Lynn. That'd be great. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, Lynn, I'm giving the floor back to you. Leave our listeners with some words of encouragement. Leave them with something to take with them throughout this week.
What came to me first, and that's what I'm just gonna go with, is no weapon formed against you shall prosper. If God is with you, who could be against you? You were made to shine. And before God even created the world, you are a thought in his mind. That already shows you who is the highest treasure. It is you. It's always a great day for gratitude. And I'm so happy and grateful that Leah was allowing me to be here on this platform. It's such an honor. And I want you to realize success is not what the world sees. Success is what God puts a check mark in your heart. And how do you know? Because you'll have those goosebumps. You'll feel that love, that comfort. It's like when you get a good biscuit and it's buttery, it's flavorful with honey. You know,
Yes, you know it was yours. I'm sorry, I
you
got
know
excited.
it's yours.
Oh, Lynn, thank you so much. I love, love, love that advice. I love that those nuggets that you dropped. I love that, ladies, take that with you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. God created you for a reason, and you are his highest, most poised and amazing treasure. So remember that. Remember that. Hold it deep in your heart and take it with you throughout this week and every week thereafter. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us at the well. I appreciate you so much. Okay. All right, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Woman Witness Podcast, The Stories at the Well. If you were blessed by anything that you heard today, we ask that you we ask that you subscribe. We ask that you follow Miss Lynn on social media, follow us as well. If you think that you have a story that you want to tell, or you want to be a guest on our show, or you think you want to write a book, email us at info@womanwitness.com. That's info@womanwitness.com. And perhaps, just maybe perhaps, you were created for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time, bye.